I began full-time peacemaking ministry almost exactly 30 years ago, in March of 1978. And I was working at the national level of the peace movement, and one of my colleagues, actually, she worked with clergy and laity concerned, we were noticing that so many people who became organizers for peace did it for a year or 2 years and then sort of burnt out, crashed and burned, as we would say. Because the hours are long, it's low pay, it's not, you don't necessarily get a lot of positive, energizing feedback. And she commented, but she didn't think that was going to happen to me. And there were two reasons. One is that I have a supportive family, which I'm grateful for. In fact, I think my wife deserves to be nominated for sainthood for putting up with me for over 33 years now. But the other reason she cited was a strong faith. And that really is a big part of why we have convened this retreat today, is that we are interested in trying to help all of us draw on our many rich resources in our variety of faith traditions to strengthen and to undergird ourselves for the long haul, for persistence in our peacemaking efforts. One other quick anecdote, and I think this goes to why faith is such a good thing to be grounded in. In December of 1983, a lot of people became discouraged and dropped out of the peace movement. There had been a big upsurge during the heyday of the nuclear freeze. Some of you remember the demonstration with 1 million people, June of '82, the largest demonstration in U.S. history, the nuclear freeze referenda on the ballots around the country that fall. It looked very encouraging, very promising. But then in May of '83, the MX missile was approved. So it became clear that the Reagan administration was determined to continue with its nuclear weapons buildup. And more dangerous even than that was the cruise in Pershing II in Western Europe. New medium-range nuclear missiles that the Pershing II could reach Moscow in 6 minutes. So talk about putting a hair trigger on nuclear war. And the deployment of those, despite our best efforts, started to go forward, of the new U.S. medium-range nuclear weapons in Western Europe in December of '83. And a lot of people became not only discouraged, but said, all is lost, and especially if we couldn't defeat Ronald Reagan the next year as he ran for re-election, that we were almost certainly, with almost 100% certainty, going to die in a nuclear war or experience that. And those of us that were grounded in faith knew that that wasn't the whole picture. As discouraging as those were, we need to look at the world without rose-colored glasses on, look at the world as it is. Those were real dangers. We came very, very close, in my judgment, to having a nuclear war, in the judgment of a lot of experts. We came dangerously close. But those of us grounded in faith know that there is more at work. There is a God of history. And that God of history can work in all kinds of ways. And I happen to think that one of the ways that God of history worked was to bring a man named Mikhail Gorbachev into power in the former Soviet Union. And when he came into power in 1985, within 2 years, there was a treaty to completely abolish not only the cruise in Pershing, but all of the Soviet medium-range missiles as well. So I think being grounded in this rich faith traditions that believe that there is more at work than our human efforts. There is a God of history. As Dr. King said, the moral arc of history is long, but it bends toward justice. And I believe it also bends toward peace.
Before I read from the Holy Scriptures of the Sikhs, I'd just like to share a little story with you. It concerns Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak being the founder of the Sikh religion. He lived around 500 years ago, and when he was about 40, 50 years old, he traveled a lot. He went to South India, he went to Mecca, Medina, Baghdad, Tehran. He also went to what we now call Burma, and in one of his travels, he was traveling in India, he came to a small village. And being the all-knowing person he was, he decided that he wasn't going to go into the village, but he was just going to stay outside and camp for the night. So in the morning, some people came to him from the village, and they brought a gift. And they said, this is a gift from the holy people, from the wise people in the village. It's for you. And Guru Nanak looked at it, and it was a cup, a bowl filled with milk right to the top. And Guru Nanak said, well, I think I understand this message. Do we have to send this back? And his colleague said, well, no, why do you want to do that? He said, this is a message from the people that there are enough wise people in the town. There's no need for you here. Please be on your way. So he said, we have to answer in kind. And what he did was, he took some sugar, he put some sugar in the milk, stirred it. And then on the milk, he put a flower and sent it back. When people received it, they understood the message, which was that they understood the two messages, which was that Guru Nanak was not just an ordinary person. He was a holy person, a man of God. He was preaching peace and humility and universal brotherhood. So they understood the message, and then what they did was they realized their mistake. They came to visit him outside the village. They bowed to him, and then they began to listen to his message. So the message I take from that is that we must make a place in our hearts for the peacemaker. So I'd like to read from the Sikh scriptures, two passages written by Guru Nanak. He begins, there is one God named Truth, the Creator, fearless, without hate, all-pervading, beyond birth and death, self-illuminated, and can be realized by the grace of God. First, God created the light, and then, by His creative power, He made all mortal beings. From the one light, the entire universe welled up. So who is good and who is not good? Oh friends, do not wander about, deluded and doubtful. The creation is in the Creator, and the Creator is in the creation, totally pervading and permeating all places. The clay is the same, but the fashioner has fashioned it in different ways. The clay is good, and so is the one who fashioned it. The one true Lord abides in all. By His making, everything is made. He is the mother and the father of all. Whoever realizes His command knows the one Lord. He alone is said to be the Lord's slave. He cannot be seen. The Guru has blessed me with this understanding. Within all hearts, the Lord speaks. Who else can it be other than the Lord? Out of the same clay, the elephant and the ant and the many kinds of living things are formed. In every heart and in every type of life, the Lord resides. Remember the one, infinite Lord. Abandon all other hopes. May the infinite Lord bestow well-being on all humanity. Thank you.